Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And today, reviewing one that's on my pull list. So you're probably expecting me to really love it straight away, and you're probably not going to be wrong. It doesn't hurt that it's from AWA, who've been putting out some absolute bangers at the moment. It is out by Rob Williams, Will Conrad, and Marco Olesko. And I'm going to start with my small critiques of this, because yes, this is on my pull list, and yes, I'm going to carry on getting it, but it'd be dishonest for me to just, ignore the things that aren't great about it, or aren't perfect about it. First off, the artwork lacks a certain vibrancy and kineticism to it. Now, there's not really much action in this. Mostly it's people standing around, walking around, talking, sitting. There's not really chock full of excitement. Well, okay, there's excitement, there's tension more than anything else. But when you do get those moments of action, they kind of come out of nowhere and they don't feel as fast and vibrant as I think I would prefer. But there's reasons why I absolutely love the artwork, and we'll get back to that in a second. The second thing that's a little bit frustrating is I've gone on record and past and saying one of my favourite things about genre fiction is when it does something that's not just about, let's say, vampires. Sometimes these can be like really subtle and really deep, and like repeated viewings will eke out more and more about what you actually should be thinking about when you watch it. Sometimes they're Dawn of the Dead, but I think it's still a good thing when they've got an alternate meaning and something which allows you to sink your teeth into it. Pardon the pun. And you basically invites repeated viewings, so you can get to see exactly how the writer and the artist, or the writer and director and actors, have actually put all this together to tell you the story you weren't expecting to be told. Now, those things in consideration, why is it on my pull list? Because it was sold as World War II Escape from Prison, so Escape from Colditz, crossed with The Thing, one of the all-time greatest movies. Not even just one of the best horror movies of all time, although it certainly is. It's just one of the best movies I've ever seen. Love it. Now, the World War II Escape movie, it's not really my cup of tea. Pretty much the only one I say I've gone back and watched more than once is Chicken Run, which probably gives you an idea about like the fact that just when it comes to general war movies, in fact, it's not my bag. Throwing some horror mix into it, I'm probably going to pay attention to it. There's quite a few like zombie and gory and weird psychological horror that you can do with war stories, and that's brilliant. So this one is a war story, but it's mixing in the horror, so I'm paying attention to it. Now, the things I do like about it are, first off, let's talk about the artwork, because it is insanely detailed, like more than I usually go for. In fact, it almost gets criticized for trying too hard to do photorealism, but I actually think it skirts that line perfectly, and the level of realism actually really helps it, because it's not just in the detail of the artwork, although that is certainly there. Almost individual bricks being done, the architecture design is fantastic. It's the detail in everything that comes across. I've spoken to people before who think sometimes like there's a level of detail which goes a bit too much. Does it necessarily add anything to it? I've had conversations with more than one individual about cold weather effects on horse genitalia in Red Dead Redemption. Is that too much detail? I think if you're going to do that, do it. It doesn't really bother me if it wouldn't be in there, but the moment you know it is, you think, well, these people care about what they're doing. Two instances in this where I genuinely like that is brilliant, because these people are on a mountain castle, freezing temperatures. You can see that from the breath in the air of the Nazis. But if you look at how all these people are standing, almost every single one of them is either warming their hands up or has their hands in their armpits to keep them warm. The cold is affecting them, and you see it throughout, like almost everything. There's people who are probably trying to show that they're hard because they want to impress people, but for the most part, the cold is actually affecting, and you can see that in how it's drawn, and that is an excellent level of detail. Second bit, this is right at the end, and I'm going to show you the final page here, so spoilers disappear, but it's got vampires in. This is not a big thing. They've literally in the marketing said that vampires are going to be in it, but when the main character sees one, look at his eyes. Now, yes, fear, definitely, can't really say anything else than that, but look at the pupils, because this is happening at night in a place where it's got very little lighting outdoors, so pupils are massive. This is because that's what your pupils do when there's not much light. They need to basically grab as much as they can to see things clearly. Now, if I hadn't have noticed that, if that wasn't done, wouldn't have affected my enjoyment of it whatsoever, but because they have done, means I love it even more. Running out of time, so let's get on to the story of it, and why I'm not too bothered about the fact that it's not doing much else, is it's really good at what it's doing. I think when you're just dealing with the horrors of the war, particularly the Second World War, then having racist people in there, like American troopers fighting against fascists who are also happen to be racist, very authentic, and I think if that's all they're going to do, just be like, racism bad, let's not do racism. Let's agree that all together now that fascism is terrible. Fine. If that's all you're doing that in the World War II setting is brilliant. You don't really need to do anything else. Now, they could be more under the surface here. I think there's going to be a lot of paranoia coming into it as well, which is also going to be very apt for the time. But it doesn't, I think, because of when it's set, it doesn't need to be about anything else. It's doing everything it needs to do. And by the way, the dialogue and the characterization, brilliant. Absolutely love it. Very glad it's on my pull list. Cannot wait for the next issue. I'm probably not going to do a review tomorrow, I'm afraid, because I'm pretty much out of like new titles to review. But I'll be back on Tuesday for a new comic book day video. Until then, if you like what I do, hit like, hit subscribe, get the URL tattooed on your elbow so people can find us. Whatever you need to do to let people know about us. It's all good. And we'll keep doing this because I love it. But until I'm back next week, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.